Hi guys, good evening. I'm Olive.
I'm Christine.
I'm Kirsten.
I'm Preeti.
I'm Samira.
I'm Shiv.
Preeti.
And we're the
We're the
Scramblers.
Scramblers.
Hi everyone, this is Samira. I'm part of the Scramblers team, and I'm excited to tell you a bit about our project for the Educational Technology course. Passwords has been the main method of authentication for humans for the past 40 years, and they are likely to do so in the near future. But surprisingly, people are not good at making strong passwords. Studies show that people often use passwords that are very easy to guess, and this makes their account vulnerable to hacks. We would like to propose a solution for this, based on the research that has been done at Georgia Tech and CMU. Password strategies are simple mental algorithms that people can learn and use them to generate their passwords on the fly. They don't have to memorize passwords anymore, but every time that they log into a website, they take the name of the website and this algorithm and they generate a password on the fly. There has been studies that show that these password strategies could be effective. And what we would like to do in our project is we would like to make a lesson plan to teach these password strategies to middle school students. Our lesson plan would allow educators and teachers to put this password strategy workshop as part of their curriculum and hopefully help the students to build stronger passwords. The reason that we target middle school students is that we think that this is the time in their life that they start using online accounts. And since the security of their online accounts is extremely important, we think this is the best time for them to adopt a strategy for making stronger passwords.
As our project is designed to teach password strategies to young students, it is important that we as designers have well-defined learning goals for the project to fulfill. We have defined two major learning goals that the project should achieve. First, that the children should be able to understand why maintaining a secure password is important. We tell them that their insecure passwords can be hacked and their data can be stolen. Their data can be shared with bad people who can use it to harm them. The second learning goal is that children should be able to learn and practically use the password strategies that we teach them in the workshop. They should be able to follow the step-by-step directions in the workshop to create their own new passwords, which are much more secure than their existing passwords.
Welcome to the concept map section. This is our special bridge concept map about how to teach middle school students to generate their password. Top part is our teaching way. We want to have a pop-up class in the library area. Pop-up workshop is a self-contained one-time workshop that involves teaching some concepts to the class of completely unknown students. Workshop is a good way to teach common sense knowledge like password strategy to students. The middle part is our teaching approach. For community-centered learning, we plan to separate students into 4 people each group to work on the different sections of the alphabet when learning password strategy. It is a good way for students to easily ask questions, and our group member can pay attention to each one of them to make sure they learn it. And since our workshop is like an hour long, it's hard for middle school students to pay attention all the time. So we also focus on the game-based learning strategy. We come up with some game-related passwords to tell them what is password and how important to generate a good password. Having some game during workshop is a great way to attract the students' attention.
Next, we will focus on two other concepts that are pivotal to our implementation. The first one is the secure password, which acts as a motivator. In our context, we want the workshop to help middle school students understand why they should want to learn password strategies and then eventually use the same in their everyday lives. Our end goal is that the students will use the password strategies to create passwords that are secure and that are not easily accessible and guessable by the imposters. The other concept that plays an important role in our implementation is that of mind hashes. Mind hashes are a subset of password strategies that could be defined as some kind of mental algorithms. They are generally defined as step-by-step procedures that a regular internet user could follow and execute in their heads. The knowledge related to mind hashes is particularly important in order for the students to understand the password strategies that we teach them, and ensures that the student not only uses the password strategy but is also aware of the benefits of using such mind hashes.
We open the workshop with a game that demonstrates to students why it's so important to have substantially different passwords for different sites. Kids are presented with sample sets of passwords and asked to guess the user's next password. For instance, if my password for Google is Google123 and my password for Instagram is Instagram123, what is probably my password for Snapchat? Most students will quickly guess the correct answer, which would be Snapchat123. This game should help students understand why it's important that passwords be secure both individually and in how they differ from one another. Students then move on to learn about the basics of what makes a good password and break up into groups to generate password codes using a random letter mapping password strategy that generates different passwords for different sites in a way that prior research has shown to be both difficult to hack and easy to learn and remember. You can see here a few of the worksheets used in this section. After practicing in groups, students are given a second set of worksheets to fill out at home so that they can create their actual password codes without anyone else seeing them. This packet includes an FAQ page and links where students can find additional information in case they have forgotten anything discussed in the workshop. All of this content will be packaged in a website for teachers with all the content we have created for students and a narrated PowerPoint walkthrough of the different parts of the workshop for teachers to view.
So for our implementation, 5 members of our team drove to the West End branch of the Atlanta Fulton County Library System to meet with Ms. Christina Battle, a librarian who works primarily in the children's and teen section of the library. For our implementation, we spent about an hour working with her to present our slide deck and run through the outline of our workshop. Our goal was primarily to identify any confusing or weak points of her presentation and identify any flow problems. A lot of the feedback that we got from Christina was very positive. She was super excited about password strategies in general and also running the workshop at her library potentially in the future. One point of feedback that she helped us identify was that in the motivation section of our workshop, a lot of our content was geared towards adults. And so in order to make it a lot more relatable, we wanted to help kids understand why they should care by kind of adding a story. So to do this, what we're going to do is add a hypothetical character, Jake, and we're going to talk about how Jake, a middle school student, kind of what happens to him when he has an insecure password on his favorite gaming website.
Using Christina's feedback, we were also able to add clarity to certain aspects of our presentation where she was confused, specifically that we only needed to make one map when coming up with the random letter code. One of the biggest values of this password strategy is that each person needs only one map and that they never have to change it. So understanding this point is important to understanding the benefits of this strategy. We also realized that after speaking with the librarian, there were parts of our presentation that added more confusion than they did add value. Some parts relied more heavily on our own experience with the password strategy that the other instructors using this kit might not have or relate to. So we removed some of the slides that were more confusing than helpful. Our goal was to eventually make this final presentation as concise and effective as possible. As we presented our project to our classmates, friends, and experts, we iterated a lot on how we talked about this project to others. As a result, we came up with a list of FAQs to supplement our kit. This is important because while this project started as a workshop idea, it eventually became an inclusive kit for teachers and librarians to use as a reference to hold such workshops on their own. Thus, refining the presentation of our project was important to better educate the educators in order to let them effectively hold the workshop. Our team is super excited to share our prototype and help share the knowledge on simple ways to create secure passwords.